Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Have had yourselves a great weekend so far. Got you an update on not only what's going to happen for today specifically, but we're also going to give you some updated, revised information from overnight on the model guidance as far as the storm that's coming in. That's going to bring severe weather for areas of the south, potentially a significant winter storm for the northeast, and obviously the big time winter storm in the northern plains. I'm going to I'll probably not give you updated information on that Northern Plains event. We'll get more detail on that again one last time tonight. Not a whole lot's changed from that, but we're certainly going to talk a little bit on the severe weather event because we got the 3 km NAM that's in. That goes all the way to about midday Tuesday, which is going to be our day that we need to watch out for. And then we're going to talk about the potential winter storm for the Northeast. And then we're going to talk about what comes in behind that, because I think what comes in behind that is going to make a lot of winter weather fans happy. So we're going to break a lot of things down for you guys, and I'm still feeling under the weather, so just bear with me as we make it through this. If I cough, I do apologize or anything like that, but hopefully we're getting to the end of all this sickness that has really plagued me and my family over the last 7 days. It's just have some longevity to it for sure. But if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. It goes a really long way. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. I know not a lot of people have Twitter, I understand. Some people just don't have social media in general, and I totally get it. Trust me, if I didn't have a YouTube platform, I probably wouldn't have social media really either. There's so much just negativity out there sometimes. But it's a great way to follow along. It certainly is. And if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments as always so we can pray over it. And not only me, but others will pray over it also. So let's get rolling. I'm going to drop timestamps in this video, but in the beginning of the video, we're going to talk about what's going to happen today. And then the whole entire second half of the video, we're going to talk about what's coming, because, guys, it's going to be an active week. Very, very, very active week. I can't say that enough. There's multiple things going on, and then even after all this stuff happens, the pattern can get very favorable leading all the way up to Christmas. And honestly, the models have done nothing but double down on that idea going forward. I mean, incredible overnight model guidance. Just you're getting consistency now with both major ensembles, with the EPS and the GEFS. So, watches and warnings this morning. Winter storm watches still up for the Dakotas, and they will continue. They'll get upgraded to warnings. I honestly thought they already would have, but not right now. But by the time some of you folks watch this, it certainly will be winter storm warnings, maybe even some blizzard warnings. Still got dense fog plaguing areas of the country, so be safe out there if you got a dense fog advisory, anything like that. You got some flooding issues down here in southern Louisiana where a lot of rain's falling, so be careful down that way. And then winter weather advisories have been expanded. Western Mass, I would say 75% of Connecticut and a large portion of the valleys of New York State, and then a few counties in far northeast Pennsylvania. It's already snowing in these areas right now. We'll talk about that too, and how much snow can fall between now and the duration of the event. Let's break down the southeast first for you folks down here. Another rainy, dreary day. I swear I've only seen about 15 minutes of sunshine probably over the last 7 days here in Columbia, South Carolina. It's been quite ridiculous, and I like a cloudy day, but it has just been constantly cloudy, just no breaks with the sun at all. The rain will continue, showery weather. This blob of rain, sometimes heavy at times, will continue to move into southeast areas of Louisiana, southern Mississippi. Watch out. There could be some flooding issues, maybe a severe storm or two, but not expecting really anything in the way of severe weather today. But we're getting into about early afternoon. It's raining in my house, I tell you that. It's just constant rain. It's just been really nasty, dreary weather. It doesn't do great with anybody's mood, I tell you that. But Atlanta to Columbia, then to Myrtle Beach, it's raining this afternoon. Birmingham also. This continues, and then it begins to go away into the overnight hours. But still waking up with more rain in Alabama and Georgia tomorrow morning for your Monday morning. Now, up here in the Northeast, this will be your most active weather for sure today. It's already snowing in these portions right now. In fact, the AHRRR model is doing a heck of a job of really depicting on what it thinks it's happening. Syracuse, you got snow moving in right now. Already had a little bit of snow this morning. Snowing in Scranton. Binghamton's getting snow. And this snow will continue to make its way into Western Mass. Boston, jury's still out on how much snow y'all get. You might not get much. But you see the snowflake icons. I know you don't see any blue over here. We're just not in the radar's vision basically right here. But this is ocean effect snow out here on Cape Cod, places like this, southeast Mass. And maybe some snow. We'll try to make it into New York City on the onset of this event. But I wouldn't be surprised if some more southern areas get more snow than what some of these models are showing. and we'll see what happens with this today. But this is going to be a small-scale snowstorm, if you will. Definitely some mood flakes. It's not going to cause a lot of issues, but it's certainly going to look festive out there if you're a big fan of that like I am. And you'll definitely have some snow, a lot of snow flying around in certain areas. And here you go. You look at the HRRR model, the whole entire duration of this event. You get into about midday. It's showing rain in New York City, but just north of the city into the higher terrain. In northern New Jersey, it's snowing, but we'll see. Don't give up on this event if you're in New York City. You might see a period of snow longer than what maybe the forecast says, but we'll certainly watch out for this. Still snowing in northeast Pennsylvania. We're getting into this afternoon at this point, and it's a big sharp cutoff in Massachusetts here, and most of Connecticut seeing snow, even some of Rhode Island. But how far east does this snow get? Does it get all the way to Boston? It's snowing like crazy in areas of New York. Basically the entire eastern half of New York State seeing snow. Most of Vermont, a lot of New Hampshire seeing snow. But how far east does it get? Some of the latest model guidance likes this making it all the way to Boston now. This is trending a little bit further east with the low pressure shifting a little bit. But this would bring more snow into Boston. So maybe a little bit of surprise with the forecast. But as this low pressure crashes and jolts kind of southeast, cold air filters in. And maybe you folks, like I said last night, nothing's changed. You folks that go to sleep with some rain falling, you might wake up with a coating of snow on the ground on Long Island, Connecticut. Just depends on how that goes, because this could be a quick burst of snow at the end. But as far as how much snow can fall with this, certain areas are going to get 6 to 8 inches of snow. That'll be a jackpot area, maybe more. But this is, a good bit of snow showing up here for certain areas. It's certainly turned into maybe a kind of a low version of a moderate event, if you will. But see how the snow pulls away? It's showing a little bit of a dusting even into Long Island, New York City. So if you stay up late enough in New York City, I think you'll definitely see snow flying around. And I think you'll see some of it flying around this morning. But you look at Massachusetts here, the blend of all models gets snow all the way to Boston. You look at the latest HRRR model for this, and it wants to crush areas. Not crush, but it wants to put a lot of snow into Connecticut. 6 to 8 inches of snow into Connecticut. But there's a sharp cutoff, as you can tell. So this is going to lay the foundation for snow. So you got to wonder if maybe this helps the bigger system that's coming now. I'm about to talk to you about trend colder. Definitely need to watch out. South central U.S., the rain will clear out throughout the afternoon, evening hours. Some lingering showers, maybe a storm, and down here in Houston, along the Gulf Coast shorelines of Texas. But outside of that, not a whole lot today. Pretty quiet weather unless you're in the deep south. The north central U.S., you guys are probably waking up to some snowy scenes in the northern sections of this part of the country here. But it's not going to be a very active day today at all. Maybe some snow flurries, snow showers popping off some of the Great Lakes. But outside of that, guys, pretty quiet weather day ahead of a big-time storm that's going to be moving in. Temperatures today, pretty mild, actually, all things considered. You still got the warm air down here, and you're still clinging to that cool air in December. In Atlanta to Columbia to Charlotte. Some model guidance, I would say 6-7 days ago, was showing even all the way up into the Carolinas being very, very warm throughout this period of time that we're actually in right now. But the cold air damming has kind of, if you will, just kept it more of a wintry, December-like day and feel out here. So if you're a fan of that colder weather, then you're definitely happy that it's not in the 60s and 70s. But another day like that in the deep south, just more typical December weather here in the mid-south, Ohio Valley. Cold up here, but what's wild is, South Dakota, southwest South Dakota is going to get into the 50s today potentially ahead of a blizzard. So it's pretty wild. Obviously cold in the northeast where you're going to get some snow. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shift to the big storm threat. There's a lot to talk about here, and we'll get even more detail tonight. These videos have been extremely long, and to be honest with you, I don't know how I'm muscling through it, but I guess I'm just getting the strength brought to me as I start these videos. But let's talk about not next week. We're in this week now. Let's talk about Tuesday. We're fortunate this did not get upgraded to a moderate risk. It's just an enhanced risk. So there's been no upgrade, an enhanced risk. And I can tell you the reason why here in a second. But we have a level 3 out of 5, basically in the same area that we've been talking about the entire time. Slight risk extends well east of Dallas. You just got a moderate risk. A marginal risk in Little Rock, Greenville to Jackson, Mississippi, a slight risk. New Orleans, slight risk. And they're thinking that this is where the best overlapping of all the dynamics, the kinematics, the thermodynamics is going to be. So I really think this is going to be more of a linear mode, meaning you're going to have more of just a straight line of storms that could cause damaging winds and some spin-ups in this. But I'm going to show you the NAM here in a second and show you something that could be a concern. So the latest NAM is out. It takes us all the way up to about midday Tuesday. So already you can see the storm cranking up. Here's that surface low we've been talking about. We're digging across this upper trough. And we'll take it all the way out to 60 hours out. You got a lot of storms moving through Dallas. And here's the sector of ingredients that could be supportive for severe weather, right into here. You got the line of storms moving through with a cold air behind it. Pattern change right behind this line of storms. And does any individual supercells get going in this area? That is the question. And we will know probably twice as much information tonight than we do right now. But we're getting in the range now, so we're starting to know a lot more. What develops ahead of this line? If we can just keep the line, that's it, because we can't avoid that. Then I'm thinking it's probably not going to be as significant as maybe it could have been. So let's hope that's the case. I can tell you, a lot of warm, moist air in the low levels, dew points reaching well into the 60s, maybe some 70-degree readings. So, I mean, it's going to be very humid down here along the Gulf Coast, but then, you know, you're lacking other dynamics also down south. So the one thing you'll look at here is the Cape, at the mixed levels, the mixed layer Cape, and this takes us all the way out to midday Tuesday, 2 days from now. Not a lot of Cape is building in Louisiana, but this will build very quickly. And I really think there will just be a small window, relatively speaking, in this area for severe weather. Now, are you going to get anything that gets going in this area? So it's a big question. It's going to be a low-level jet, 30 to 40 knot low-level jet in this area. There's going to be a spin in the atmosphere, but let's hope and pray that no individual supercells get going ahead of this line in a sector of dynamics that are certainly supportive for severe weather. So I'm keeping an eye on this, but tonight, stay tuned if you're in Louisiana and the Deep South in general. Let's talk about this system for the Northeast, and then we'll talk about the pattern change. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Here comes this system. This is the latest GFS. You already see ice in far eastern West Virginia, Maryland, western Maryland, northern VA. Ice already showing up. There could be a nasty ice event in this area. We'll know a lot more in the next day or two, and I'm going to show you already what we do know. But I'm telling you, if you're in northern, western areas of Virginia, you need to watch out for an icy, wintry mix. But here comes the latest GFS. I am terrible, guys, and I'll openly admit it, at telling you what time frame we're at. So, in the top of your screen, if I do not mention the time frame, and I forget, and I shouldn't, but, you know, I am human, look up here. You see how it says THU, 15th of DEC? Well, it's December 15th. And don't focus too much on the Zulu time, but 18Z is normally about midday. Think of that as around midday. 12Z is normally around morning time. Think of that as morning time. OOZ is normally the evening. 06Z is normally right in the middle of the night, around midnight, give or take an hour. Because we're still kind of far out. There's no point in focusing on the exact hourly forecast, if you get what I'm saying. So 18Z Thursday is what? Midday Thursday. So of the week that we're in, this Thursday. So ice. Midday Thursday showing up. We're getting into Thursday afternoon, 21Zs more so in the afternoon. And then we're getting into OOZ Friday, which is around Thursday evening. Still ice. Several hours of ice. And then you got the snow starting to move into Pennsylvania, but it's a wintry mess. Switches to heavy snow. Here's this low pressure. This run keeps Washington, D.C. to Baltimore to Philadelphia mostly rain. Even New York City, mostly rain. And keeps most of the heaviest snow into the interior northeast. The low pressure has trended a little bit more north, and the runs have trended a little bit more warmer. So we look at that, but trust me, listen, I don't think the models have really accounted for the snow that's going to fall today over the next 24 hours, and I think that means a lot. So if you're a big snow fan and you live in the big cities along the I-95 corridor, don't give up on this event. The European, here we go. Shows ice much more southwest, ice all the way to Boone, and this is getting into Thursday morning. You might wake up to an icy morning for Thursday morning if you live in Boone, areas of southwest Virginia, western Virginia, eastern West Virginia, definitely western Maryland, and look how close the ice is to Washington, D.C., very close on the European. We keep this going. We're getting into Thursday about midday. It's a lot of pink showing up, which you don't want to see. One thing I haven't mentioned is the primary low popping off a pretty substantial snow event for just north of Chicago. The UP of Michigan, Milwaukee, Green Bay. This could be a big event, and I apologize for not mentioning this much. But this low pressure may try to secondary low, may try to re-strengthen, and then you got the coastal low up here. There's a lot going on with this. Lots going on. But then as we're getting into Thursday evening, here comes this wintry mess moving into Pennsylvania. But, southeast Pennsylvania, like I said, more so just rain. Rain for basically that I-95 corridor, Washington, D.C. to New York City, even up to Boston. It's more rain. And the European is just flat out a warmer run than what it was 12 hours ago. I can tell you that right now. So we need to watch this. So if you, like I said, if you're a big snow fan and you're along the I-95 corridor and you don't live inland, I know this might be disappointing to you if you're a snow fan, but if you're not, then you're happy about it. Either way, this is going to be a very impactful storm. But trust me when I say that this could change a lot. It really could. We got plenty of time for this to change either way. But the snow forecast, the blend of all models, shows the ski country in West Virginia getting a nice snowpack right here. Far western Maryland, significant snow, 7, 8, 10 inches. And then most of Pennsylvania, except southeast Pennsylvania, a substantial winter storm. And then all of New York City, all of New York State, this includes what's going to fall today, obviously. Pretty substantial winter storm. But we got a lot to figure out with this, guys. But, if you turn around, you look at the GFS, how much snow does it show? Shows a significant winter storm for areas of Pennsylvania, New York State, places like that. Now, I will tell you, it doesn't look as wild as it did yesterday. And we can look at the European also. But I can tell you, this would bring a lot of snow for the interior Northeast. Not to mention, guys, and this is going to lead me into what I'm about to talk about. If you're in the Southeast, the Carolinas, Tennessee, all the states in the Southeast, in the South, especially the Southeast, you're pulling for the Northeast to get slammed if you're a winter weather fan. Because what it does is it could lay a massive snow foundation, a lot of snow on the ground, and this actually will help amplify the cold air when we have some more systems that come through after this system. So, and I'll talk about what that means here in a second. As far as ice, this is something a lot of people aren't talking about, but this could be a substantial ice event. 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of ice can cause problems. So, we'll see how this trends in these areas, but that shows a lot of ice in West Virginia, Maryland, especially in this little area of Maryland, in the higher elevations of western Maryland here. But what happens after this storm? There's a lot of people excited about the pattern if you're a winter weather fan, and I'm a winter weather fan. I'm always going to be biased to that. That's just, how I am. I love winter weather, even though I live somewhere where we never see it. So, after this system moves through, later this week, we get done with the severe weather. We get done with the snowstorm in the Northeast and everything. Cold air filters in behind this, and really cold air potentially for some areas. There's a lot of backside energy still flying around, and snow is still going to be flying around in the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley. I think a northwest flow event could get really going in the Appalachian Mountains here. And then watch, and this is just the OOZ GFS from overnight. Look at this deep south snowstorm that gets going. It's pretty far out. It's 1 week out, actually. But look at the snowstorm that gets going down here in Texas. Shows snow in Dallas. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But the pattern substantially changes after this big storm this week. And then cold air oozes through. It gradually drops south, and an active storm track gets going. And then look at this. Look at this low pressure. Favorable track. You got an area of snow and winter weather from northern Louisiana into Mississippi. Just don't get so focused on this because this is going to change 100 times. But you get this into the Carolinas. It's not a big deal, but that track, you got to watch that track. It's a very favorable track for sure. But the idea here is don't focus too much run to run. I'm just showing you this because the pattern behind this storm is excellent for someone. Heck, maybe even my neck of the woods here in South Carolina. But this moves through. Yeah, I'm just showing you the energy flying around after this event. Like I said, do not take everything you see as it's going to happen. At the same time, you got a reinforcing shot of cold air after this shot of cold air behind this big system this week. And look at this system. You got a cold rain for a lot of areas, but it's a favorable storm track. What does the big snowstorm up here do to this cold air supply to this system? There's so many factors, guys, that a lot of people don't think of. This storm moves through. We're starting to get into about 4 days before Christmas. And then another storm forms, and it's very close, very close. So it gets very active, guys. And then right here for Christmas morning, you got a system that flies starting. You see snow down here? Guys, remember, I shouldn't even be showing you this because people get way too excited and they'll tell everybody and their brother that it's going to snow on this day about 15 days from now. Just remember, favorable pattern coming up. It really is. Now, what does the European show? It shows a system behind it. Look at this. Same thing with the GFS. Cold air right on top. Moisture down here coming from the Gulf. What does this do? Well, not much on this, but it's close. It's close to something big. It really is. Moisture right here, cold air right here. Very, very close. Now, I'll show you the latest GFS, the 06Z. Same kind of deal. Shows a lot of energy flying around. Now, let's back it all the way up. Here comes that one storm that showed much more south on the first run. And then here comes a big snowstorm. Big winter storm. A few days before Christmas. Rides across areas of the south central U.S. And then more moisture with cold air nearby. I mean, look at this. It's really, really close, guys. Really, that is a ton of cold air for Christmas morning dropping down on the latest GFS. It's very impressive to see. So one thing I can tell you is colder than average temperatures are coming. I mean, these greens, that's 10 to 15 degrees below average. And this comes in, especially later this week, getting into next weekend, and it stays for a long, long period of time, maybe all the way through Christmas. Below average temperatures dominate the pattern, so it's wild to see. And then with an active southern jet, here comes that upper trough, and then after the upper trough swings through, this is our southern jet. This tells us the storm track is tracking to the south. And this stays like this for the foreseeable future, guys. So, man, it's just an incredible pattern potentially setting up after we get to this weekend, I'm telling you. And then last thing we'll look at is this is a snow lover's dream for anywhere in the central and eastern U.S. You got a tall ridge building into the western U.S. We call that a positive PNA. You got a negative EPO, which is a ridge building all the way into Alaska. East Pacific Oscillation. And then we still got blocking up in Greenland. And then we got troughing cold air into the eastern and central U.S. with a storm track that goes just like this. So I'm telling you guys, oof, we got a lot to figure out because the active times are on the way. But that's all I got, guys. I'll get detailed again tonight. God bless all y'all and have yourselves a great Sunday.